Sorry, guys. I know I'm live and my light just fell. Wow. There. I'm a little impromptu live right now. Um, I'm at home with a bladder infection, and I called into the doctor to send me in an antibiotic because there's no sense in me going to the clinic and taking up space when I know what it is. But I'm here impromptu, and you'll be surprised what I'm here to talk about. And I don't mind talking about it. So let's talk about it. Um, Today, a channel that I subscribe to, Successful Ladies Live, had a live calling show about uh, Brooks. I think it was Rashad Brooks, the gentleman that got shot down by police. That has taken the police's taser gun and was running and got shot down by police and killed. And she happened to ask a question. I'm going straight to the punch because I'm now realizing that there is a lot of people that are breeding hate, that are breeding a certain mentality, and they're taking advantage of a Black audience that supports a lot of these live shows to breed that mentality. And I'm saying something about it because I subscribe to this channel and I thought this woman was very intelligent. But one thing about me, I can see the forest for the trees. I can see the forest for the trees. Some people can't. And I can see underlying things. And I didn't notice this. And it just so happened, I just happened to look up and saw that she was going live because I subscribe to her. It'll sometimes pop up that she's done a YouTube video. And I think I may have caught one of her other lives, but I don't just purposely look for her show to watch it. Sometimes I'll look at it, sometimes I won't. I watched a lot of her Kobe Bryant series and things like that. And I realized something, but let me get to the beginning and then get to the end because I was going to talk about the end before I got to the beginning. But she asked a question and she had call-ins and I called in and she asked a question that don't we think that Blacks police officers should police Blacks, that Blacks should police Blacks? And when I called in to give an answer to that question, she didn't like my answer. It seemed as if she didn't like it because I didn't agree with her. And I wasn't necessarily not agreeing with her. I was just trying to tell her that that question was ludicrous, but I wanted to tell her in a nice way. So I used the word unrealistic. I said, a question like that is unrealistic. Now, why would a person ask a question that is unrealistic, that is not going to happen, that will never happen, that is not going to solve a problem? And she asks, should not Black police officers be hired to police Black communities? Now, period, not some Black police officers or mixture or something. So I went to address the question and I said that it's unrealistic to think that we would be able to hire a full police force with Blacks because there are a lot of Black Americans that are not going to school or trying to be a police officer or that are going to be police officers, period. And as I was telling her that it was unrealistic, she interrupted me and she said, well, so you mean to say it's not a good thing if Blacks police Blacks? And I said to her that that would be kind of like a reverse discrimination if we just had Blacks policing Blacks and only Blacks could get hired in that community to be police officers. And as if that would solve the problem, number one. Number two, it's unrealistic because you don't have a lot of Black individuals that are trying to be officers. And if they are, it would be disparaging to have people that want to have a job. You say to them, the same as it is with Blacks, why can't you hire whites? So she also mentioned in the white community that they have all white police officers and no Blacks. And I said to her, well, then that kind of situation, we need to ask that there be a certain amount of blacks that are on those police forces. I didn't think she liked my answer. Excuse me, she didn't like my answer because it didn't promote any kind of rage or anything that would say that that is what needs to happen, because that's not the point. I told her the point that needs to happen is those cops or those officers need to be brought to justice, that God is uncovering the brutality that police are doing, and disparaging how they are killing black men, women, whatever the case may be. That's what the underlying problem is. And getting just a all black police force to police just the black community, you know, and I know that that is not going to happen. Well, she went on to Wendy's and said, well, Wendy's is burnt down and it shouldn't be burnt down. And I said to her, well, I was trying to answer the first question you asked, and you said something about Wendy's. What question do you want me to answer? So then she said, well, let's do it in order. And she asked the question about the officers again, but she was very, very, and you can pull up that YouTube video. She was very, very poignant about getting the answer that she wanted. And so as I began to talk and repeat my answer, she hung up the phone and she said I was not letting her talk or respond. And I was trying to tell her she wouldn't let me finish my question, answering her question, because I mentioned Kobe Bryant, I mentioned COVID-19, I was trying to mention the quarantine, all the way to George Floyd, all the way to the rioting, to explain to her in a bigger picture that the emotions of people are up. Number one, they've been in quarantine. Number two, they have this fear of COVID-19. And then you have the blatant killing that was videotaped of this black man after all of this has happened. And then we don't expect that buildings are going to get burned and riotings are going to happen, because it is a buildup of hundreds of years of police brutality. But it happened to happen after a series of things that have happened nationally, on a national scale in this country. Number one, the Kobe Bryant situation was a national thing because of the type of basketball player that he was. And because it was broadcast nationally, now our eyes were glued to the television on this national event. Then came COVID-19. So everybody shifted from our eyes from being on the Kobe Bryant situation to everybody is alert on television watching. And this is a prime time to drop COVID-19. Then it's a prime time to keep people in quarantine or separated from the world and shutting businesses down right after COVID hit. So that is another prime thing to do. And then because the government and certain people in the government want to bring in martial law and allow this to happen, here we come with these senseless killings. So these senseless killings being videotaped is going to cause rage, anger, and riots to come to the forefront even more. And then what happens then? Then you have to deal with the looting and the rioting. The looting opened up. You have to deal with the looting with extra police force. So we're not fixing the problem. We're actually causing the problem to allow martial law to come to the forefront and be worse than the police killing people. Then it'll be martial law killing people. So it's like we're falling right into that trap. So it is not surprising to me that police are shooting people even more because they want a martial law state. And then going back to Successful Ladies Live, it makes me wonder if you miss Successful Ladies Live, because surprisingly, I don't know your name. I just watched your program. But I do know this about you. You are always talking about how you're half Hispanic, as if you're trying to separate yourself from being black. Sister, you are black. Period. Point blank, you're black. But I noticed on several of your shows, when I looked over it, that you're always trying to say, I'm half Hispanic. I'm half Hispanic. Then you talk about Hispanics and say they're cruel and mean people because you wanted to talk about Vanessa and Kobe's relationship, that Hispanics are always cruel and mean. Now, I don't have that perception of Hispanics because I work with Hispanics and I have learned Spanish. And since I was a young girl at 13, I worked with Hispanics that came from other countries to pick blueberries in Michigan. And I worked at the migrant school for migrant children. And the Hispanics I've dealt with from that point to this point forward, all of them are not the same. So we show racism when we group people, all people into one category. I used to be like that. I'm no longer like that. And it wasn't racist against Hispanics. I wasn't always trying to tell people that I'm half this or half that. I'm just black, period. So I used to be like that. But I know what racism is. But I do know this, that the agenda right now is to promote what we want to happen. So for you to be successful Lady Live, you have to promote some type of thing that will cause a stir in somebody of anger or disagreement or things like that. Nothing that would be harmony, because it would not build your channel. I'm not concerned with building my channel. I want to promote the truth. And the truth is, you're always on there talking about black men and how they are leaving our black women for white women. I don't know why that is always a topic of your conversation, but there are a whole lot of black men that still like black women. So those black men that leave black women for white women should never be a topic of your conversation. But it's like you're trying to educate us black women on what we need to look out for. Why do we need to look out for that? Why do we have to have that in our mind so we can get bitter and start saying, yeah, that's what it is. Black men don't want black women. I know a lot of black men that still want me and still want black women. And it is no fault of some of these black men that go to white women. If that's their preference, then that's their preference. I have two sons. One of my sons is married to a Caucasian, and she's a beautiful mother, and I have beautiful black children. And my other son has a fiance, and he has beautiful children with his fiance, and she is Caucasian. He did have a Hispanic girlfriend. His preference is different because he was raised in a all-white community for part of his life. So people grow up with what their environment is. And do I point fingers and say, you need to have somebody black? No, I want my children to choose who they want to choose. But you are promoting, because I noticed on here you said later on that man that got shot while he was running with the taser from the police, that he was supposed to get killed, and that they should have killed him. And you even called him a nigger. You said that nigger. And I heard you say it. So you have a problem with your own race, it seems, that you have some kind of, I don't know what issue you have, but you need to look over your commentary and read your commentary and listen to yourself. When I was having a conversation with you live, I noticed that you were getting ruffled because I didn't answer the way you wanted me to answer. And I didn't talk like you wanted me to talk. I'm a very educated black woman. I can see the forest for the trees. So I'm going to tell you, it is a reason that God had me to get on live with you and call in, because I never looked at you closely. But I just want you to know that I'll be watching you pretty close. And when you make those comments, I'm not going to look over them. I'm going to catch them and see them. See, a lot of people didn't catch that you called that man a nigger. I did. A lot of people didn't catch that you actually said that the police had a right to gun this man down, and he did not. And because you hung up on me and you didn't allow me to comment, I text my comments and I said, what if it was your child? What if it was your daughter? Other people said that. Not very much, but other people did. But you were promoting that the black man should have got shot down because the police have a job to do. You might as well say that every police officer that shoots somebody when they're running away are correct. You're wrong. On that one, you're wrong. And I just had to get on live and I just had to say, I don't care who, it might not be very many people that see this, but I don't know if you're part of the agenda to have us black women be mean girls. We're not. Not all of us is going to listen to that crap. We're not concerned with what a black man does when he goes to a white woman. Why are you concerned? Because I'm not concerned. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with black guys being interested in me. So why are you concerned? Now you're doing something different. You said this is different from you. You're not looking at celebrities. You're just taking on this topic. You took on the wrong topic. You have the wrong agenda. I don't know what you're trying to promote with this, and if this is something you've been trying to promote, but I'm going to study your videos and I'm going to see if you've been trying to promote other things besides us black women being mean black girls, because black men is not that many black men to every woman. Who cares? Do something about it. Fix yourself up. Make yourself look pretty. It ain't that black men don't just want black women and are going to white women. Some black men just don't want black women in particular because that is their preference. So I hope you see this. I titled it Successful Ladies Live. I don't know what I added to the end of it. I hope I titled it right. But I do know that I want you to know that you hung up on the wrong person. And I will be watching your lives, because if you are a part of the agenda to promote hatred, and we already got hatred and anger in the streets and rioting in the streets, if you're promoting that and you're ruffling the feathers of people, then you are wrong. And you don't even equate yourself as black anyway. You always want to say you're Hispanic, part Hispanic, this, that, and the other. Well, you don't even need to do that with your daughter because she is not Hispanic. She's a black girl. And she is not going to be able to go to schools and say, I'm a half Hispanic girl because her mama says she's half Hispanic. So I'm just saying that you need to do better and allow people to have their own opinions. And if you don't like it, just deal with it. That's a point of life. I understand you have a lot of problems when people don't agree with you. Well, let's do better. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.